So coming to membrane constituents, in this module we will be studying in detail about the most important constituent, which is the highest in amount, that is phospholipids in the membranes. Then we will study about the second most highest percentage composition element, that is the proteins in the cell surface membrane. There is another type of lipid, that is the cholesterol molecules, which are found within or between the gaps of the phospholipids in a cell membrane. You will also study about glycolipids and glycoproteins. So these are the 5 major components of the cell membrane, and you will study them under cell membrane structure in the upcoming tasks. Keep in mind that depending on the location and the function of the cell, different cells will have different ratios or proportions of lipids and proteins in them. Here is an example of 7 different types of cells, starting with the myelin, which is the cell found in your neuron or nerve cell. Your nerve cell is wrapped around these myelin cells, and they have their protein to lipid ratio is 0.25, which means they have lots of lipids. That is, phospholipid is 45% of the total lipid, then glycolipids are there, then cholesterol. The protein ratio is not specifically given, but look at the amount of lipids it has. Plant plasma membrane, on the other hand, has a higher protein than lipid in the protein lipid ratio. The red blood cells in human have a protein lipid ratio that is 1:1, which means that proteins are in large quantity, and this is the distribution of 3 different types of lipids. So with every different type of cell, you can see that the amount of protein, amount of different types of lipids in it are varying depending on the function of the cell. Now let's look at an organelle, that is endoplasmic reticulum. This is a membrane bound organelle and it has double membrane. So because of double membrane, that means there are 2 lipid bilayers, so lots of phospholipids, no glycolipid, and then a little bit of cholesterol. Chloroplasts also have a different distribution of lipids. They have lesser phospholipids, more glycolipids. This is the case of a bacterial plasma membrane, where phospholipids are very, very high in content, and normally prokaryotes don't have glycolipids and cholesterol in their plasma membrane. You can see how mitochondrial inner membrane we have studied previously. The mitochondria and chloroplast resemble in structure, but mitochondria's lipid distribution is very much similar to that of the bacteria. Okay. Finally, I want you to set up your notebooks in this manner so that in the upcoming videos where I explain different components, the structure of those components, and where I explain what is the role of that component in making the cell membrane perform its function in a certain way. When I explain those, you should have your notebook ready in this manner. You may also choose to dedicate one whole page to each component to give detailed notes or to have detailed information about each component.